Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be transplanting this Nepenthes, and I'm going to go through the steps on how I'm going to do it and look at some of the media that I'm going to use and exactly what inside a Nepenthes pot looks like. So this is a Nepenthes spectabile. It's a great plant. It has a bloom spike starting up here, which is kind of funny because it usually blooms in the springtime. It's definitely in the vining stage here. It's got lots of pictures on the bottom half, and the top half is vining away. This year it produced several rosettes along the bottom. There's 1, 2, 3 basil shoots coming out, 2 coming out of the ground, and 1 actually coming out of the stalk about 2 inches above the soil. But with all that going on between the blooming and the new shoots and everything, it's also in desperate need of a repotting. So I'm going to repot it in a mixture of sphagnum moss with probably some perlite and some bark mix. But yeah, let's get started. I have to be really careful. I have this staked up with a bamboo. Because it is vining, it won't support its own weight. So I'm going to carefully lay this sideways, and we'll work on it sideways. So the first thing I have to do is find myself a pot to upgrade this guy too. Before we get started, I wanted to show you a close-up view of the plant here. It's just in great shape. It has cute little pictures on it here. Look at these little lower pictures. They're just adorable. The color is amazing on them. So these all started in the summertime. I'm just gonna tilt you down a little bit more so you can see. So yeah, it's got all kinds of little pictures, little tiny pictures on it, bigger ones around the sides, and then of course the pictures from the main plant here. You can see on this one, I don't know if you can see it clearly, this vine is actually just coming out of the stalk, just right here. And it's starting to produce pictures as well. There's a few little penthes growing in there. Bits of old sphagnum moss are growing in the pot, but I'm not too worried about maintaining it. This stuff isn't even sphagnum. This is just something else that's growing in there. A little bit of Spanish moss has ended up in the pots as well. So yeah, all in all though, it's a beautiful plant. It does very well. Blooms every year. And it goes up and up and up and up and up. So let's have a look at what the medias are that we're going to be using for this though. Okay, so the 3 ingredients I'm going to be using are, I'm going to mix some medium bark, and I decided to go with the sponge rock here. And then I am going to use a whole bunch of the New Zealand sphagnum moss. I'm going for the New Zealand stuff. They say it's a better quality. I want this moss to last in the pot as long as I can. I don't want to be repotting this very often. I only like to do it every couple of years. So we're going to use that. I found a new pot for it. So not new, but new to this guy. So we're going up a couple pot sizes. That'll give him plenty of room. What I'm going to do is wet down the media first. So I'm just going to walk over and grab the hose here. Let's see. And turn it to the mist feature. And just give this a bit of a mist first. Normally with orchid bark, or when you're replanting an orchid, I like to do it dry. But for Nepenthes, they need it so moist all the time. I'm not going to waterlog it completely, but I'm definitely going to take some of the dryness out of the mosses. By the time I mix in the bark, which is still dry, and the sponge rock, it'll kind of balance out a bit. But there, at least I'm not starting with a completely dry mix now. And you need massive amounts of moss. It's amazing. This pot will hold so much moss. So mix that. The thing with using moss on its own is you have to worry about it packing down. So these other ingredients are just really to help it stay light and fluffy. Yeah, so anyways, they just prevent it from really packing down. We want it to always be moist, but we need it to be airy as well. Kind of like when you're doing orchids. But being the main ingredient is a ingredient that has the ability to really pack down, adding a little bit of this extra like this will just ensure that it's going to stay light and fluffy for us. There we go. Perfect. Now there actually is no perfect on this. It's whatever works best for you. Everybody's going to have their own ways of doing things. Normally I would have added perlite to this mix, but I thought since I have this sponge rock, I might as well try the sponge rock here. So with that all mixed up, I think the next thing we have to do is try to get this guy out of the pot without damaging anything. There's the new pot, so you can see the difference between the new pot and the old pot. Good size difference. This plant is probably 3.5 feet tall, so we need to be really careful when doing this. Even when working, it comes close to hitting the ceiling up there. I'm just going to hang it up, so I'm just cutting away the plastic hangy dealy here. And I don't know if you'll be able to see better with the lights off or on. These are my overhead lights. I think for now you can see better with them off. I'm going to leave them off. I'm going to carefully lay the plant horizontally. Now some of the pictures may spill out, but that's okay. We can refill them after. Just like so. Okay, with the plant horizontal like this, you can see it's just laying in the new media up there. And I'm going to work on the bottom of it here. Nothing really easy about this. Now the roots are fairly delicate and they're quite fine, so I'm just going to move the camera over, allowing me to work. So we want to be careful. Nepenthes roots are kind of a browny black color to start with. And this should pop out. Now if you break the odd picture off, that's going to be okay. Nothing to worry about. Pictures will grow back. I don't want to disturb the roots too much, so we're going to make this fairly painless on the plant if we can at all help it. Just going to knead some of this away here gently, because I can see the that's the Nepenthes root there. There's the main ones down there. And with that off, that's about what I'm going to do. That'll really freshen it up some. As I say, the roots are sensitive, so I don't want to disturb it too much. Now I'm just going to go over here and fill this up some. And now the tricky part is going to be uprighting this plant, keeping it safe and stable. I left the bamboo pole intact because, oh, and it's all wrapped up in here. I left the bamboo pole intact because it gives the vine some added stability to it. There we go. So we're going to lift it up there. And there's the plant. I'm going to work right beside the old moss. As you can see, this is going to be quite an upgrade for the plant. And slowly put it into the new one, getting it upright. And I'm just going to fill in the hole. This used to be the edge of the pot, and now it's going to be the middle of the pot. Nice thing about these guys is they don't really, unlike orchids, move towards the edge of the pot. So, all right, fill that back in there. I'm scared to release this, just in case it doesn't support itself, because this stake is just barely in there. I mean, it's in there as good as it was in the other pot, but there's so much more pot now. It just doesn't feel like it'll be that secure to me. Maybe I'll keep packing a little bit more. I'm trying to do this with one hand while I'm holding the Nepenthes straight up. I'm just going to slide it over a bit. I'm hitting the light there. I'm not packing it super hard. I'm just filling in the holes. It was good to be able to fill in the bottom first so you don't have to worry about that, and then push the Nepenthes off to the one side so that the top dressing and any remaining moss was off to the one side, so I only have to fill in half the pot. There we go, that's looking pretty solid. Give it a bit of a poke down there. So, I think to make it more stable, I'm going to take this orchid wire here, bend it in the middle to make almost like a hoop. And then I'm going to stick it in both outside edges at once and see what that does. There we go. So I made this hoop here. And now I'm going to attach the old bamboo stake, the new wooden stake, to this hoop. Oh, that works perfectly. All right. So, check this out. So there's the metal stake. It's kind of spring loaded because it's bent, and I had to bend it in so it's pushing against the edges of the pot, and it's really stabled it up nicely now. So I'm happy with that. Totally happy with that. Had to put the extension pole down here to go straight to the bottom of the pot, and then put that metal hoop in. But there we go. There's the Nepenthes all repotted. That was it seems like every time I do this, it's just a slightly different and new experience, and you gotta kind of problem solve as you go. So there we go. Perfect. I'm gonna slip out the old pot and give this a water. I'll turn that on to full here. There we go. So we want to give it a really, really good drink now. This is going to pack all the media into place. Anything that was a little bit dry before will get wet now. Oh, and look at that. A great big bug came out of it. There's what just came out of my Nepenthes. Look at that. I'm sure he was relatively harmless. I'm just going to release him outside. I'll be right back. Nice. Alright, out you go. Okay, we're back. And I'm just going to continue to water that there. Poke it down, give it a spin. It's totally draining out the bottom. That's okay in here. There's no difference. And add a little bit of media around this edge. This is the edge that we didn't really have to touch any. Just a few little touch-ups. There we go. The only other thing I'll want to do is carefully fill up any of the pitchers that lost a bit of fluid. That way it stays hydrated, and we're good to go for another couple years. Alright, so it is complete. There is a super detailed instructions on how I repot a Nepenthes. Now remember, there's no right or wrong way to repot them, and it seems like for me, every time I have to solve a few problems. Just do the size of them and the vining and that. Little ones are going to be so much easier than big ones to do because they're not in the vining stage. So yeah, this time around I just did this little hoop to spread out into the two corner or to the two sides of the pot to really stable up this support bamboo, and it looks like it's going to hold just perfectly. So anyways, that is how I repot my Nepenthes. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching. That is job well done.